What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Now today I've got for you some r/malicious stories. If you've never heard of this subreddit before, well, you're in for a treat, as I've got 3 fantastic stories for you, starting off with this one, in which a number of men ask for the very hottest wing this bar has, only to be hit with the very hottest wing this bar has, which they can't handle. It will all make sense. Let's get into it. Is this the hottest wing you have? I used to own a wing joint. Nothing fancy, but a good selection of wing flavors and beer. Inevitably, we would have people come in and order the hottest wings I had. I like super spicy foods, so these were pretty dang hot. Of those people, about 5 to 10% would always start the joke or sarcastic conversation, "These aren't that hot. Can't you do better? Yuck, yuck, yuck." One of my best regulars, a dentist who fancied himself a gardener, decided to help us out and planted a ghost pepper bush, at the time the hottest pepper in the world, and he could bring us the bounty of his harvest. Now, he would intentionally underwater the bush so the peppers would be as hot as they could be. When he would bring us the peppers, I would grind them, seeds and all, into a nice paste, which I would combine with our hottest sauce and keep to the side for when our spicy wing connoisseurs would show up and complain about the hot sauce not being hot enough. I would only serve them one death head wing, it seemed a fitting name. I would make them wear gloves to eat it to prevent capsaicin burns on their skin. I would specifically tell them about the heat they were about to get into, trying to dissuade them from eating this culinary monstrosity. By the time we got through all of this, every single person always now viewed this as an insult to their manhood. Never had a woman complain about heat, but would sometimes actually ask if there was another level they could try, and they could not be stopped from eating this wing. So they did. Now, the fun thing about capsaicin oil is it can often take a few seconds to kick, usually just enough time for the person to scarf down the wing and start to smugly tell us how it wasn't that hot. And then the heat would begin. And once it started, it was relentless. Now, the wing was free, but the cup of milk after was $20. I never had a single person ask for a second one. Yeah, guys, to be honest, that doesn't really surprise me that only men have done this, because, you know, you do get some men that have massive egos and they'll hear hot wing and they'll see it as a challenge and they'll just say, you know what, give me your hottest wing. Well, you asked for our very hottest wing, try and handle this bad boy. You can just picture their faces, can't you? They take a bite, they're thinking to themselves, hot? This is barely anything. Then the heat sets in and they're like, oh snap, I'm in the mud here, I'm in massive trouble. And then you just have a very enjoyable rest of your day, leading up until you go to the toilet. Wow, that must be pretty incredible. Now moving on to our second story. You can't continue working from home because you go idle in chat too often. As part of the plan to return to office post-COVID, my company has done a lot of redesignating of who can permanently work from home, who can hybrid, etc. I really wanted to work from home full-time. I hate the office with a burning passion. It's distracting, it's a long commute, there's no benefit to being there, so on and so forth. I'd just rather be at home. Well, when we thought that May was going to be go back to office time, they started giving out the new designations. I got designated as in office full time. It made no sense to me. I work on a team of 8 people, and each of us is in a different office somewhere in the country. I've literally never been to an in-person meeting or needed to do in-person work in 3 years at this company. Every single other person on my team got designated to work from home. So, I brought it up with my boss and asked to work from home. When I started at this company and lived elsewhere, I got to work from home for 4 months before I moved. And the past 14 months during COVID, I've been at home. So 18 out of the 36 months at the company, I've been working from home. What I was told though, is that I go idle too often in chat to trust me working from home. Basically, we have a company-wide IM system that shows you as available, idle, or in a meeting. If you don't touch your keyboard for 5 minutes, you show as idle. So, they've decided to use this as a measure for who is working and who isn't. The thing is, like many people in many types of jobs, I don't have stuff to do for a full 8 hours every single day. The amount of work I have to do on a typical day takes 3 to 5 hours of actual attention. There simply isn't something to do all the time. my performance numbers actually went up working from home. By all objective KPI numbers, I'm a better worker at home. In fact, in the KPIs that I don't flat out lead the team in, I come in second. There isn't work to do that I'm neglecting or procrastinating. When something comes up, I simply do it until it's done or until I can't do it anymore due to waiting on someone else. Then I stop. Now I've done that method for long enough that my work queue stays empty because I work to get my queue down to the point where when something comes up, I can immediately address it and be done with it. But because I have other ways to spend my time in downtime instead of messing around online at my cube pretending to be working, meaning I show idle more often, I'm a worse worker apparently. I was told if it weren't for that, they would let me work at home. So what did OP do to combat this? Well, I wrote a 6-line PowerShell script that virtually inputs the period key every 4 minutes that starts running every day at 8 AM and stops at 5 PM. So now I literally never go idle. I do the same amount of work and I still read books, watch TV, and play video games on the side. But I have a shiny green check next to my name all day. That is brilliant. Because of COVID complications, they eventually said no going back until after Labor Day. I just had a meeting with my boss and he said over this time they've noticed I go idle a lot less than I used to, so they're changing my designation to work from home. All because of a little icon in some software. This concludes my TED Talk on why low to middle level managers are the dumbest, most useless do-nothing positions in all of corporate America. Yeah, OP, that's just absolutely brilliant. What a thing to think of, and I just don't really understand though, from the manager's perspective. Is that really a way that you can tell if someone's working or not, whether they go idle or not in a chat? Surely you would base, how well they're doing based on what their actual output is. Are they actually doing the work? Are they getting things into you on time? Are they making a meaningful contribution to the company, and are they doing their job? Surely you wouldn't use a little icon, as OP says, to judge somebody's job and how well they're doing it and how much time they're spending doing it. That's crazy to me. Look, OP is completely right. In the majority of jobs, you're not constantly working for the full time you're sat at your desk. That would be incredible. Like, you could not work for 10 straight hours a day for your entire life. You would, fall over and die. So to actually, expect someone to do that, I'm not so sure. Honestly, if I was somebody's boss, right, and I had 2 employees, one of them was I saw completely working throughout the entire day, doing task after task after task, I would actually kind of worry. I'd say to myself, yeah, they're working hard, but are they actually, efficient at the work? Do they know what they're doing? Or pretty much questioning, why is it taking them so long to do the same amount of tasks that I've got this other employee doing that is doing it in half the amount of time? Honestly, if you're able to do your job quickly, you should not be penalized. That is the main point of this. And now moving on to our third story of today's episode. My meal must be salt-free. This story is from a dinner party I hosted before the pandemic. I invited 6 folks, and shortly after the invites were sent, I received a call from Sally. Now, Sally advised me that she was now on a salt-free diet due to medical reasons. She advised that at home, she cooked without any salt and gave me a speech about how wonderful salt-free life was. I was skeptical and advised her that I would personally find it difficult to give up all salt. Was she sure she wasn't just on a low-sodium diet? Sally advised that unless her dish was salt-free, she wouldn't be attending. Now, I was already annoyed at Sally for years of being difficult at the dinner table and restaurants. Trust me, for her, there was always something wrong with her meal, or its preparation, or the flavor, or the waiter, or whatever. So, with a smile so large you could hear it through the phone, I assured her that her request for salt-free was 100% going to be accommodated. On the dinner night, I prepped the meal. Sally was getting the same thing as everything else, with one critical difference. All of her food was prepped in separate containers, baked on separate racks, and seasoned with exactly the same flavors, just without the salt. Dinner time and my guests arrive. I have all of Sally's food plated on white plates. Everyone else gets grey plates. First round, appetizers. Fried calamari with a lemon jalapeno butter sauce. This dish typically has salt in both the batter and the sauce. As Sally couldn't have that, I battered her calamari in salt-free seasonings and flour. Her condiment looked exactly the same, but was made with unsalted butter and no added salt. I placed Sally's plate in front of her first. and she immediately states she asked for salt-free. Now, I assure her that her dish is salt-free, and I made sure to cook hers separately, and even use a different coloured plate to keep it straight. We all sit to talk and enjoy the squid. Sally takes a bite and makes a face. "Mine has no flavour," she exclaims. All of my other guests tell Sally it's divine, delicious, best they've had, etc. I smile at Sally and assure her that her dish was flavoured exactly as everyone else's. The only difference is that she received absolutely no salts. It's at this point that Sally has a moment of clarity. It's painfully obvious on her face. She realizes she can't complain about the lack of salt, as she's already told the table about her salt-free life. She also can't claim it tastes terrible if everyone else is raving about the food. She literally looks like she was about to cry at the table. As my guests enjoy their dinner, Sally is slowly doing the toddler plays with her food thing and pushing her calamari around the plate. After a few moments, she reaches for the sauce that I made for everyone else. "Sally, be careful. The salt-free sauce is in the white bowl. That one has salt." She mumbles something about wanting to taste the difference before literally dumping the bowl on her calamari. She then exclaims how much better it tasted. You and I know that, of course, things taste better with salts. So this drama repeated itself over the main course of honey roasted salmon with pine nuts. I also am no heathen and had both salt and pepper on the table for my guests. I'm not going to judge you for needing more flavour. Here we go. Sally takes a bite of her fish and once again realizes that it has no salt. She reaches for the salt shaker and conversation stops. Another guest asks Sally if she was okay with adding salt to her food. She then says that she can occasionally have salt. She then proceeds to shower her fish with salt sprinkles. Now, I'd also baked some cookies for dessert. The dough uses a little salt, so I made sure to whip up a separate batch of cookies wrapped to go for her. Salt-free, of course. When I handed her those cookies, the look of defeat that hit her face warmed my heart. Dinner is over, everyone is happy, except for Sally. I called her the next week to make sure she was okay, as of course she's consumed sodium at my party. Sally then told me that her doctor had since removed her sodium restrictions and she won't need that accommodation at future meals. On the phone, I congratulate her for her good health. When I hang up, I laugh until my sides hurt. Salt-free life apparently doesn't taste good when the salt is actually omitted. Who would have thought? A final note. To anyone on a low or no sodium diet for their health, I commend you. But Sally was not actually on this diet. This is evidenced by her shock at how salt-free food tasted. I confirmed with her husband that she's never stopped using salt at home. Her salt-free claims were a ploy for attention that backfired tastelessly. Now, I think that story is probably one that you and I can both relate to. I mean, I've had it multiple times where, one of my friends or someone I know will go, "Oh, I'm going vegan for a month," or, "Oh, I have no snacks or no chocolate." Then the next day you'll literally see them going against that diet, and it is funny, isn't it? Like, do they do it for attention? Do they do it to, I don't know, make themselves feel better about themselves? Look, vegan diets and any diets like that are great, but I don't really get why you need to tell someone about it. That's my main thing. And by the way, I'm not trying to take anything away from people who are vegan or, like OP has said, people who don't have sodium or any other diet out there for whatever reasons, whether, it's a health thing or you just want to do it, you feel better about yourself, whatever, it's none of my business. But if you're then telling everyone about it and then not actually doing it, so literally just using it as a ploy for attention, at that point I've got a problem. Like, what is your point? What is the point of this person? Like, seriously, Sally, why do you exist? That's my question to you. If you got nothing better going on about yourself than to have this fake diet, seriously, get a hobby. Become a little bit more interesting, Sally. Because at the moment, I'm bloody bored of you. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. I don't know about you, but I've enjoyed this video. If you have as well and you want to see more, then check out a couple of Malicious Compliance videos on screen. If you actually did like it and you want to let me know, because I'd appreciate it, comment down below, drop a like, and subscribe for more videos each and every day. And with that all being said, guys, I will see you all tomorrow for a brand new one. Take care.